Hello everybody, we are back for some MPO action here at the 2024 Swedish Open, presented by Castaplas, 7th stop on the DGPT Europe this summer. Yeah, my pleasure to have some amazing rising star from Finland, sponsored by MDG, Elias Luukkonen.
Thank you, Max. That's a huge pleasure for me, and great to be here in Sweden on the Ymers Frisbeegolfbana. Great wooded course, very different one from what we saw last week at Ale.
Definitely. Yeah, more wooded, more tight. There is a lot of room for mistakes. So that's going to be an interesting battle today. And we are starting with our 6-time world champion Paul McBeth, rated 1037 for the moment, representing Discraft. He's back in Europe, and what a pleasure to have him on the feature card here.
Yeah, also last year's champion, and Linus Carlsson, the home country boy. He has been looking for his backhand for some time, but he's more of a forehand player nowadays. A really good putter. He can score from C2 any day of the week.
And third on the tee we'll have Niklas Anttila, the best European player for the moment, representing Discmania. He's super solid lately, and that's going to be enjoyable again.
And a Castaplas teammate from the US, Joey Buckets Anderson. Very solid woods player. He's very accurate, doesn't throw super far, but he has got incredible control of the disc.
And very steady since the start of the season. Let's start with the first hole.
Hole 1, 123 meters, playing just slightly shorter with the very small downhill grade at the very end. It's a straight shot, you have OB right, that's the main danger on this hole. Some players are trying to avoid that OB right by going a little bit left at the end, but if you start fading left, you can easily be, 10, 12, 15 meters left.
Yeah, definitely better be left than turning too much and ending up OB right. But yeah, 123 meters, and let's wait for the announcer to bring the players on the tee pad.
The first player to tee off, sponsored by Discraft, the reigning Swedish Open champion and 6-time world champion from the USA, Paul McBeth.
Definitely one of the most anticipated players coming back to this event. Great performance last year, and Paul is starting off with a slightly understable fairway driver there. This one is turned too far to the right, though, challenging the OB, but good kick, he's gonna be safe.
Yeah, back into the fairway, no harm on this drive.
Swedish Open champion, sponsored by Latitude 64, representing Ymers Frisbee, Linus Carlsson.
And the local Swedish boy coming back from the States, Linus Carlsson.
Going with the forehand, as I mentioned, he's not super comfortable with the backhand as of late, and that forehand didn't look too comfortable either.
Yeah, overturned, maybe the nerves in front of the local, people also. Some pressure on his shoulder probably.
From Finland, Niklas, Anttila.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a different pressure when you have your home crowd compared to going to another country. Niklas here, also with the fairway driver. He had great results, being second last year on this very event. He's not looking like he's going to start off with a birdie though, as that fairway driver is very far to the left.
Yeah, high the release a bit too much, not able to make the disc turn.
Sponsored by Castaplas and Pure Bag. From the USA, Joseph Anderson.
And Joe Bucket, the rising US player, you'd say?
I'd say so, definitely one of those, and really unique style of throwing that is kind of slow, just walking up to the edge of the tee pad. And look at this line, beautiful control. He's gonna skip his way inside the circle as the only player who has a real good look on the birdie on this hole.
Yeah, good drive to start off the round. And let's head to the basket.
Linus continuing with the forehand, showing some good touch here. You can see that he's been practicing the forehand a lot lately. He was very impressive. We actually played a short course with Linus in Ale, and he was really piping those short forehands.
Yeah, and McBeth, you'd say he was going for it on this one?
I think a bit of a half run there. I think similar thing for Niklas here. You know, just it's a bit of a fast green, a bit of a slope behind the basket. You don't really want to be too aggressive on this one.
And a good bird to start the round for Joe Bucket. One down, let's go.
And just a couple of cleanups here. Also, I feel like a cool feature of this tournament, we had the tee-off songs, which you probably couldn't really hear on the video, but every player could choose their tee-off song. I feel like that's a rare tradition in the big tournaments now.
Yeah, it's been a long time I didn't see that, you're right. Always cool to have a familiar song to start the round. And we have 3 bars, 1 birdie, and we move on to the second hole.
Hole 2 that has been redesigned from last year. You can see the old tee pad on the right. This year it's a very difficult par 3. 113 meters, but playing much longer, probably closer to 125, 130 even. Going quite severely uphill at the beginning. And the gap that you have to hit is very late, about 80 meters in the flight. After you hit the gap, you want to move left, and quite quickly you have some OB on the backside. You'd rather be a little bit short left and push that right side long OB.
Fairway or distance driver for you on this one?
I'd say most people are going for the distance. Looks like Joey Buckets did that with a pretty fast fade there. I think he went with a 12 speed.
Yeah. Just outside the circle. Some 13-14 meters putt coming for birdie. And that's a good looking shot for Paul. Yeah, 7 meters for first real birdie opportunity.
Linus a bit pull to the right. That's easy to do on this hole as you don't really want to finish early left. As I said, the gap is very late, so you have to push your disc straight for a long time.
And that's looking really nice from Niklas. Can't do better than that on this hole.
Yeah, beautiful shot. I feel like this hole and this course, honestly, the whole course sets up really good for Niklas. You know, those kind of 100 to 110 meter backhands. As Linus there, a bit long on the approach.
Yeah, pushing it a bit too much. He will have a first tester on the second hole, and you can see the big crowd following the group. As always, last year was exactly the same, a lot of people.
Not quite the height there, a little tentative by Joey Buckets. And Paul here, very solid hit, just middle of the basket. That's the way you want to start off, you know. Getting both 1 and 2 is very rare, but you would definitely like to at least have a putt on one of them. As Linus also with a solid putt. As I mentioned, he's known for being a very good putter. Has that traditional European spin putt, especially from Swedish players. We quite often see that, you know, from the waist just directly to the basket with a lot of spin.
Niklas to tap in the bird. Have 3 players under the par after 2 holes. Hole 3.
Hole 3, another change from last year. We're flying over the old tee pad. The hole's pretty much the same, just a straight shot. We're going a little bit downhill, so the 90 meters playing a little bit shorter. Want to keep your disc going as straight as you can, as the OB on the left and right and long are all within the circle.
Yeah, it's really about controlling the glide and the power on this one. If you're doing a bit too much, you could just end up OB long. And that's looking pretty nicely controlled from Paul. Bullseye hit. Perfect control on the disc.
Beautiful shot. And Niklas here going with a very similar straight putter. And looks like he might have kicked to the right side OB. Yeah, that's a huge, I would say not a terrible break, but I mean, he did have a bad kick to the right.
Yeah, it can happen, unfortunately, on this hole. And his shot was looking pretty okay in the end also. Short and left for Joe.
Yeah, I feel like this hole is producing much higher scores than you would expect because of that OB. This one is also at risk, but if it can fade back, yeah, that's going to be safe, you know. I feel like that's kind of the common thing on this hole. A better shot sometimes can be worse for the results. If you miss your line just a little bit, you might hit the wrong side of the tree.
Exactly, but sometimes you can also go through that right side. It's usually happens, you know. It can happen. And Niklas, wow, barely inbounds, aggressive on this bit, trying to save the par, long range.
Yeah, surprisingly aggressive with that OB behind, but good for him to stay safe there.
Yeah, kind of a layup for Joe. Again, that's a downhill putt, maybe not wanting to take too much risk on this one.
And Linus just to the right there, that was a long one. And Niklas coming back, this is already for a bogey. And a good tap in there, pretty tough bogey to swallow, to be honest though.
Yeah, hole 3 is definitely not the one where a bogey feels good. And a par for Linus, good cleanup.
All of the actually first 4 holes are all one of the I'd say they're on the top 50% of difficulty, at least statistically, even this hole being the 6th most difficult.
And we have Roland Koer from Estonia, James Proctor also on top. Back to the HQ, Jakub Knapek from coming also.
We are here. We are one. We will fight. We will fall. We will prevail. From the fjords of Norway to the shores of Spain, from the fire of Iceland to the hope of Ukraine, 30 countries, one voice. Go Europe.
And moving on to one of the most difficult holes on the course, statistically, for hole 4, 185 meters. It's very much a dogleg. You have 2 options off the tee. You can play just a straight shot on the, very bottom of the pit, or if you want to be aggressive, you can throw a high forehand, try to get around here on your drive. That is a very risky play though. And then wherever your drive lands, you just have to avoid the left side OB near the rock wall and just figure out somehow a way through all of these trees. There are many lines, but not many of them are very wide.
Yeah, not a clear gap on the second shot, definitely. And you will be obstructed by a mount also on your second shot if you're going just straight from the tee pad. It's pretty hard. You need to keep your disc high, not nose up. And Paul opening the party here. Going aggressive. Oh. Yeah. Common thing on this one.
Yeah, tough reaction off the ground, but I think that happens half the time. It's really hard to predict. For example, Joseph Anderson there, much better skip. Very similar looking shot, but just gets a better reaction. That's what happens on this hole.
And that's a bit safer from Linus. And that's where the mounts will be in play on the second. Good shot for Linus. And a different line for Niklas. Slight flex shot. Good one. Maybe that bush will be, a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I think I like the safe play off the tee, but on the second shot, it's just so difficult to get up and down from here. You really have to pick a gap and commit to it. Niklas with an Anheuser, but hits an early tree, and he's going to be OB left. So the best case now is a bogey, and double is, very possible to happen.
Yeah, early kick. Oh, and the same for Linus. Bad breaks back to back for Niklas and Linus.
And so this is Paul's third after the OB. Finding the left side fairway, that's a great shot. Going with something slow, I think that might be a zone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. And that's going to be a par for Paul. Oh, and good control also on this one. That's gonna be an easy birdie from the bullseye for Joe. I'm pretty sure the aggressive play of the tee should be the main option for every player, knowing what just happened for Niklas and Linus. Everything can happen on that second shot. So it's probably better to go OB on the first and be up there.
I think so. As you know, we're seeing both Linus and Niklas just approaching for their bogeys, compared to we saw Paul having the same approach for par. So I guess it's, of course, all the players play their best game plan. They feel like doing that. But I think generally I would like to see more players going for the very aggressive shot off the tee.
Yeah, bogey for Niklas. And Linus still needs to make this 5 to 6 meter spot. Yeah, as he does, bogey also. Yeah, bogey on this one is not the worst score. It's a real score separator for the field. And we are moving on to the signature hole of the course.
Yeah, hole 5, just incredible. 219 meters going way downhill through this. Honestly, a pretty wide fairway. It's not like a tunnel shot, or if it is, it's a very wide tunnel. You have to keep it on the fairway. You have about 15 meters to work with, left to right. And yeah, you can throw anything from a slow putter to a slightly understable distance driver. We can see some people going for the eagle here. If you go distance driver, try to flip it up, down the fairway. It's possible to get down there. But I'd say usually good drives land about 40 meters short.
Yeah, exactly. I think the main play would be the safe plan with a mid-range or a putter. If you want to get aggressive, it's also possible to go under the basket with a fairway driver or an understable distance driver, as you were mentioning. But I'm pretty sure if you want to keep your score, don't take too many risks. The safe play is the main one. And you know, if you had to pick a side, it's better to be on the left than the right side. You're going below the level of the fairway. If you're going right side, it can be really tough. You can go deep inside and go fade. Yeah, good kick. Center of the fairway. Open look to have a third birdie on the round for Paul.
Yeah, really good kick. Looks like he was doing similar thing to Joey Buckets there, which is turning it too far to the right. And Linus also. This needs to fade back. If it's coming, it's gonna be good. And yeah, he's gonna be on the fairway too. Both Linus and Paul, they're gonna have about 80 to 90 meters to go, but still very far downhill, so playing much shorter. They can throw their standstill putters if they want to.
It needs the turn. Oh, that's looking amazing. Yeah. Not in the middle of the fairway, but so far down on the left, it's going to be a pretty easy approach. And you can see the crowd here. Lots of people for Friday afternoon. Bit rainy also.
For sure. And a lot of volunteers too. I think this was the tournament of the year that had the most spotters per the course. There was a spotter on almost every hole. As look at this approach from Paul. Beautiful touch. Again going with that straight putter. Perfect. After the little miss on the drive, cleaning it up for an easy birdie.
Yeah, good looking shot. Definitely. And Joe, with a gap from the right side, it's pretty uncommon. And he's going to have a chance for the birdie. Pretty good shot.
And Linus here with the backhand. As I mentioned, a bit more of a forehand player right now. And yeah, not the greatest of backhands there. He's going to have to make a putt from just outside the circle if he wants to have the birdie here. Very important birdie to get. It's the easiest hole on the course, averaging over half a stroke below par, so almost closer to a par 3 on the scoring average at least.
I'm pretty sure Ricky took the eagle today after the rough start. But apart from that, oh my god. bounce off the band. Oh, and Linus has a comebacker to save the par now. Strange footing. Oh, what a save. Good par from Linus. Yeah, maybe not the hugest confidence on the backhand for the moment, but on the green he's still the Linus we know from, a long time.
Yeah, I remember the first time I really saw Linus play as Joey makes a great putt. That was in the 2021 European Championships where he was battling against Niklas and making a lot of putts from circle's edge just outside. You know, both Linus and Niklas being known for their putting skills, but otherwise right now very different players. You know, Niklas super comfortable with the backhand on all angles. Linus going more to that forehand.
Yeah, a bit of struggle. You know, I had the discussion last year with him. I don't really know what's going on. I was not able to talk about that with him this year, but it seems that going for the forehand on hole 1, you know, he's taking that option a lot. So I'm pretty sure that there is a lack of confidence for the moment with the backhand. And we have 3 birdies, Joe, Niklas and Paul, and a good save from Linus. We were going downhill and now we are going back up the hill, hole 6.
Hole 6, 91 meters, not doing any justice for the distance of this hole. It is playing closer to 120 meters. Most players are going with a fast thrown fairway driver, slightly understable, try to get it up the hill and turning a little bit to the right. There's a couple of gaps you can choose off the tee. Most players are going for the outer gap towards the left, but there's also an inside gap straight to the basket. If you go through the inside gap, you don't really need any turn. But I think the out gap is better. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say it adds a bit of distance, but I'm definitely more comfortable with that. There is more space. You're going for a flex shot. And is this a fairway driver? It's so long. It plays more like a 130 meter shot, you'd say?
Maybe, yeah. I think it's a lot of it is about the height. You know, it's tricky to get that perfect height where you get all the way to the green. As Paul going for the inside gap, and he's gonna be right next to the basket. That's the best drive I've seen on this hole.
Yeah, man. Being on that plateau of the tee pad is amazing. Oh, and it needs no way. And that's the worst reaction you can have on that tree. Fast kick to the left. That's gonna be tough. And not enough turn for Linus. But he's up there. That should be alright.
Yeah, easy par, maybe a run at the basket. And yeah, you could really see, you know, Niklas not quite deciding to go far left of the tree. And now he's in a terrible spot. This is left side of the fairway. Just having to pitch back out and almost no chance for the par.
Yeah. Worst thing that could happen. And he's up there now. That's gonna be an easy bogey. Third of the round. Ups and downs, you know, to start the round for him. Oh, almost through the branches, catching the front cage. Good bit from Linus.
Yeah, his putt is looking very smooth with that spinny release. Enjoy there a little bit short. The camera is not really doing justice on how steep this uphill is at the very end of the fairway. So where he was putting from, even though it was just above 20 meters, probably playing closer to 30 or 35.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And we have Paul with the 4th birdie in a row. Not in a row, my bad. But 4 down through 6. Really good start.
Yeah, for sure, really good start, especially with those first 4 holes being all quite difficult on the more difficult half of the course. Now we have a stretch that you can kind of start scoring on, you know, the next 2 holes.
And yeah, entering an easier stretch, hole 7, slightly higher. What do you think about this one?
I think if you have the right game plan here, if you understand the hole completely, it's a very basic shot. You have to throw a high, glidey hyzer. You can choose a fairway driver, you can choose a distance driver, whatever you like. Important to push it far enough forward before moving far to the left. It's a very precise angle. A lot of players are going too far straight. You have to put a lot of height on it, I feel, to get it enough left.
Yeah. Sometimes you will feel you're early releasing or something, it will be good. But yeah, the common mistake is to hit the backside, as Paul just did, and you will end up just short. No major danger. No, normally the worst case scenario is a par on this one.
And even this one, pushing a little bit too far at the very end. He hit the gap well, but he needed some more hyzer to push earlier to the left after the gap. Let's see if Linus can hit it.
That's looking pretty nice. Come on. Same tree as Joe. Different reaction. Just outside the circle.
I really love the catch cam angle on this hole. It really shows the shape of the hole perfectly. And talking about perfect, look at this drive. Couldn't have been further away from every tree on the fairway.
Yeah, perfect shot from Niklas to bounce back after the bogey on hole 6. Oh yeah. So much control on these upshots.
Man, I love seeing Paul play in Europe. I feel like these courses suit his game so well, these touchier shots. As Linus, look at this putt. His putt has been looking pretty crisp, apart from that one miss on hole 5. And that was right on line, perfectly in the middle.
Yeah, and only the first birdie on hole 7. It's good for him back to even. It's pretty important. And now Joe. Oh, needed a bit more push. Front cage hit.
Great birdie from Niklas there. I don't know about you, but I feel like Joe Bucket's, of course, a very new player this year on tour, at least on the elite cards. I know him mostly for his great touch and putting. Do you agree?
I'm not sure. I've been witnessing his game for maybe 2 events. When we were in New Zealand, so a couple month ago, and I can't agree. I'm not sure 100%.
Okay, all right. Moving on to hole number 8, 102 meters, playing a little bit uphill. So playing a little bit longer than that. You have 2 gaps. You can either go for a perfectly straight shot, or if you have a big arm and a lot of confidence on your hyzer game, you can go for a huge hyzer, which Linus is going for here. It's a pretty tight hyzer line. There's not a lot of room for it, but he has thrown it well, a little bit short. That's a very common result for the hyzer.
Exactly, a bit short, a bit left, but good one from Linus. I was not expecting that, knowing he's not super comfortable with the backhand for the moment. And Niklas choosing the straight line under the trees. Not sure how it ended.
He missed the gap a little bit to the left and not gonna have a birdie putt, as Paul is doing the opposite mistake, missing it to the right, but a good kick. He's still gonna have a look from about 15 meters. I'm a little bit surprised. Both of those guys are really good at hitting gaps, and the gap on this one is pretty big, honestly.
Yeah, and one of my favorite hole, personally. Really cool, slightly hyzer, uphill all along the way. And as you were saying, not the tightest gap on the course. But yeah, sometimes you miss your line. Can't do anything about it.
And just some approaches here. I think the other guys will give it a bit more of a run. Of course, Niklas just outside of jump putt range. Let's see. You can see the blue markers as the circle 2's edge.
And we didn't really mention it, but there is OB behind the basket, so you maybe need to be a bit careful and control. Oh, yes. 5 down now. Great putt from 14-15 meters, as you were saying. He's almost on fire on this front nine.
Yeah, that's a great front. I think the back nine might even be a little bit easier than the front, so really good pace. And as we saw on the scoreboard check, the hot round in the clubhouse is 9 under, so Paul is well on pace to shoot, 9, 10, even 11. I think 11 might have been the hot round last year, but of course the course is a little bit more difficult now.
Oh, and another one from Linus. Yeah, with an obstructed vision, also slightly in hyzer, out of the hand. Great putt from Linus. And we have 2 birdies, 2 pars. Good show from Linus and Paul. And just like that, we are heading to the last hole of the first 9 holes.
Yeah, last hole of the first 9 and not the easiest one. It's actually the third most difficult hole on the course. Par 4, snaking through the woods. You have to throw a straight to very far right moving shot off the tee. Most players are going for an overstable driver forehand. You can also go backhand turnover, but I think that's more of a rare play. And if you make your forehand to the corner, you're gonna have a slight hyzer approach. I think it's really a pushing hyzer, a bit of a flip-up hyzer, potentially with a slightly understable mid-range or slightly understable fairway driver, and a tricky green. A lot of drop-off behind the basket here.
Yeah, exactly. I can't add any detail. It was perfect. And Linus going for the forehand. Pretty good result, maybe a bit tight left for the second shot.
Yeah, you'd really like to move a bit earlier to the right. This one is looking better. Hopefully moving right. And you can see going before those trees that Linus went around. Not more than 10 meters of difference in the position, but Paul is going to have much better angle to the green.
Yeah, definitely. And you can end up with weird footing, on this fairway and on this course, in general. Like there is a lot of rocks, roots everywhere. You really can't know what's happening to your disc, when it lands. And Niklas was a bit tight right. He's gonna be in trouble. That's not easy to save a par when you're not in the fairway after the first shot.
Yeah, look at this spot, very tight gap, and he has not hit it. He's not even out of the woods, and Niklas Anttila almost with 100% certainty is going to be over par after 9 holes.
Yeah, definitely not expecting that to happen. It's just the game, and this course is really tough. A lot of mistakes can just happen pretty fast.
Joey Bucket's a bit too straight there. You'd like to move more left. He threw a nice flip up, but never really finished to the left. And from here, Linus actually has a great angle for the anhyzer forehand. As you can see, he was almost hitting the fairway perfectly, but it's a pretty tight line at the end. A lot of players even just trying to go through the right side trees to be, safe. And if they miss their line, they might even be within putting range.
Oh, he's going through everything. It was definitely too inside. But yeah, he went through the left side. He will have an inside the circle putt for birdie. 6 down through 9 would be pretty hot.
Niklas, this is too much anhyzer. He's gonna likely take a double bogey there. It's a very scary putt from where he is, about 20 meters with nothing but death behind the basket.
And a lot of control from Joe, knowing the drop-off behind the basket. It's really important to stay short, and good touch also from Niklas. That's going to be a double bogey, +2 through 9. Tough starts.
Pretty tough, yeah. And as you mentioned about Joseph's touch, I think that's a really great feature about this course, is that it really tests your touch game compared to a lot of the more open or longer courses. As Paul here for the birdie, just missing it. He's going to be 5 under. That's still a great front nine.
Yeah, great start for Paul. You're definitely right. And yeah, Niklas has 7 strokes. It's a lot in 9 holes. Unfortunate start. But yeah, a lot of holes to play. No worries. We are entering the back 9, a bit easier, you were mentioning, than the front. So that's going to be interesting. And yeah, we have some hot scores back to the HQ, and we'll have, yeah, a nice battle, you know, on the last 9 holes. Let's wait for it. What do you think?
Man, I think we're gonna hopefully see some of those matching scores from the players on our card. McBeth and Joy Buckets both have a great chance to go, you know, 7, 8, 9 under, even better on the round if they can finish out with a lot of birdies. I think if you're really on the back, you can, you know, almost birdie every hole.
Yeah, definitely. And after a good front for Paul and Joe, they can sneak into the lead card tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the back nine.